Few men have shaped a nation with concrete curves and ideas. Oscar Niemeyer was not just an architect. He was a political artist, a committed communist in the midst of the Cold War. He was the creator of monuments for the state, and a declared enemy of the Brazilian military dictatorship. This is the story of how architecture became ideology, of how Brasília was born as a utopia, and how one architect faced generals' exile and censorship without ever abandoning his convictions. Oscar Niemeyer was born in Rio de Janeiro in 1907. He grew up surrounded by mountains, beaches, and the natural lines that would become his signature. From an early age, Niemeyer rejected rigid rationalism. To him, the straight line belonged to machines. The curve belonged to life, as the world split between capitalism and socialism. Niemeyer made a clear choice. He joined the Brazilian Communist Party, believing architecture should serve the people, not profit. In the heart of the Cold War, defending communism in the West was an act of confrontation. Then came Brasília. Conceived in the heart of Brazil, far from the coastal oligarchies, Brasília symbolized a new beginning. Open palaces, monumental plazas, buildings raised on pillars, everything reflected an idea of equality and collectivity. It was a modernist utopia, built in reinforced concrete. But as Brasília rose, so did paranoia. The United States and the Soviet Union competed for hearts and minds. Can Brazil? Communism was seen as a threat, and Niemeyer, a declared communist, became suspect. His art was watched, his architecture scrutinized. In 1964, tanks rolled through the streets. The military dictatorship imposed censorship and repression. Intellectuals, artists, and architects became targets. The mayor lost contracts, was interrogated, and had his office raided. In the country he helped build, there was no longer space for his ideas. Forced into exile, he left for Europe, designing buildings for socialist governments in France, Algeria, and Italy. While Brazil silenced him, the world celebrated him. He was often accused of contradiction, a communist building for the powerful. But to him, the building wasn't power, it was the message, an architecture that would outlive regimes. With the end of the dictatorship, Niemeyer returned to Brazil, old yet unshaken. He never renounced communism, never apologized. His work remains an open question. Can art change society? Brasília is still there, monumental, beautiful, controversial. A utopia frozen in concrete. Oscar Niemeyer believed the world could be more just. Perhaps he was wrong. Perhaps he was right. But one thing is undeniable. He never bent. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel.